And we are live. So it is Monday, March 25th, and my name is Dee Corchin. I am thrilled you are here. And several of us were just back from the 2019 incentive trip. So hopefully you saw our pictures, and I know that Meg and Lauren did some great lives with some tips and things that we learned. So we'll be sharing that over the next couple of weeks and fitting it into our trainings as appropriate. But I think the biggest message that we just want everybody to know is it's important to just attend everything that you qualify for. So like the next event that's coming up will be convention in July. Everybody qualifies for convention. You can bring your clients to convention. It's a great way to get the buzz and get the energy. But it's typically at convention that they share what the next event is going to be, what the next incentive trip is going to be, and what the qualifications are. So it's a great way to get a jump on that and start the qualifications. The trips are always about growth. The people that qualified for the trip met the qualifications for growth. The people that didn't qualify, that were going for it, they all had growth in their business. So that's the great thing about the trips, is that when you do the actions that are required, even if the outcome isn't exactly as we want, the results and the growth happens personally and professionally. But I wanted to come back to the topic because the last call that we did, it was 2 weeks ago, we covered this topic about building senior coaches with momentum. And it's an important skill, really a fundamental skill for the business. And so we had great conversation. We kind of jumped around topics, and I love for our calls to go that way. I think this is your forum, and I want to make sure we talk about what you want to talk about. But I didn't want to miss this fundamental skill, so that's why I brought us back to it. So maybe just drop in the chat, like drop a 1, like if you would like to start building your business by adding more coaches and then being more comfortable with how to support them and how to help them become senior coaches. If that sounds good to you, put some 1s. I see Zena just put a whole slew of 1s out there. But let me see what you got. Let's make sure that this is something that you find of value and that you want to do. Awesome. I'm thinking we're almost unanimous here. Good. 1, 1, 1. So tell me, if you watched the training, and maybe it's been a while, I actually watched the training and then I watched it again, and it's amazing how much you can just pick up that you might not have learned the first time. I think Carol Schaefer had even posted about something like that. But tell me what you learned. Did you catch at the very beginning when they talked about why understanding the skill and learning to build coaches was important? Can anybody share what they heard or what they learned from that? Wendell, do you want to unmute yourself? Did you mean to raise your hand?
Yeah, sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, welcome as our newest coach on our team.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
So one thing that I learned early on in the video was that even if you're an experienced coach and a coach of coaches, there's always something to learn just by doing and just doing that, just going through the process of it. Every time you might pick up something, even though, no matter how experienced you may be, you'll always pick up something to learn from somebody else, a different perspective on how to see how to do things, or different scenarios, problems that have been solved that you never ran up on that problem, but just by, interacting, you're going to pick stuff up like that.
100%. 100%. I was trying to look for a quote that I just saw. Frank, did you want to add something?
Yeah, responding to your question, Dee, what did I pick up in the very beginning was that senior coaches are the foundation for all growth going forward. I mean, he specifically quoted to be a FIBIC, you have to have 5 senior coaches, and to be, move up to these other levels beyond executive director, you have to have other executive directors to move up. You can have all the frontline volume you want, but if you don't have senior coaches and above, you're never going to move up.
Yes, that's an excellent point. So to follow on what Wendell said, this business is all about learning and developing skills. And so the more that we connect and we plug in, the better we're going to learn. And I'm 8 years in the business next month, and continue to learn and to grow. And I'm just going to be really transparent with you guys. When I found this business and started, I was really intimidated by coaching coaches. I wasn't sure how to talk to people about it. I wasn't sure. I doubted my own ability. Like, would I be able to help somebody else learn this business and be successful? So I limited myself. I learned how to acquire clients, and I was good at that, and acquiring, supporting clients. And I really built my business by doing that. But I'll tell you, but the longer and the further I was away from it, the harder and more monumental it seemed to be able to do it. I almost made it harder. So the real skill in this business, and really what I'm trying to, what I want to do is, number one, 2 things. No matter where you are in this business, I want you to know that we can learn this skill and completely change the trajectory of our business. I am a living proof of that. Okay. So living proof of completely transforming from just a client-based business to a business of coaching coaches as well as coaching clients. But if you are newer to the business, the faster that we learn this skill of not only helping clients, but also bringing on coaches and supporting them. And we've talked about in earlier trainings why it's so helpful to them, why they're going to benefit so much from becoming a coach. But the quicker we learn the skill, it is the fundamental of building a business that is going to go far beyond what you can individually, you can do as one person alone. So thank you, Frank, for bringing that out. So we want to learn how to do this skill for ourselves, so we can learn how to acquire senior coach, build and develop senior coaches. That's going to help us become FIBC. And then when we teach those individuals how to then build to executive director by clients and by senior coaches, we're now duplicating that skill. Those individuals move up to executive director and beyond. We all move up, and then that's how we're helping more and more people build businesses, but more importantly, more and more clients build and create health in their life. So other comments about what you've learned, or maybe some light bulb moments from more of the fun, like the principles versus the nitty and gritty so far. Katie. Oh, we can't hear you, Katie. Can you unmute?
Am I better? Is that
There
better?
you go.
Okay.
Yep, there.
I think a couple of things. When they said, I love the quote when she said, just want to turn on their light to feel the brilliance of what they have created. I got a lot out of that, because I think along with just like when you're a client and you don't know if you're doing something wrong, and then you're just doing the best you know how to do, just like a coach. But then it's like when you check in with your mentor, just like when you do your weekly check-ins with your clients, if they say one thing they're doing as a client and you're going, oh, no, don't do that, then they didn't know that was wrong. But it totally changes like their motivation, and it makes sense to them. And they're like, oh, okay, I got this. And so I kind of get that with, I think it's also the more, because when I'm speaking to clients, especially new ones, and I said, the more intentional you are as a client, the more you're on a Facebook page, the more you go, online for the trainings, the more questions you ask, the more you really make this an active journey. Because I think there's a difference between doing the plan actively and then just doing the plan. And I've seen the clients that I've had that have been so much more actively involved, whether it's, off Facebook, but they're adding activity to their day, or they're getting personal trainers, or they're, whatever it is, but they're having big results, but they're also intentional about where they're going. And I think that's the same thing that they're saying here, if I'm understanding it right, about coaches. It's like they said, how has your life been impacted by Optavia? I think that's a fantastic question. I think that we've all been impacted somehow, whether many of us may have not had the weight loss impact, story, but we've had the total transformation of how this company and what they offer and the simplicity of the structure and everything and the business. It's just so workable. It's just so, it just kind of flows really easily. But so I think it all kind of, that's what I got out of it, is like, as a coach, I'm seeing all this, but then I'm going, it's really a continuation of growth, like you're saying. And how much do you want to grow as a coach and to help others to have, and then they said something else, and then I'll be quiet. What was it? It was something about giving them the life that they want. Help the coach get the life they want. And that was really cool. I like that. So just like you're trying to help your clients get the life they want and their goals, you want to help that coach get what you were getting out of it, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes and yes. There's like 3 points in there, and I'm hoping I don't forget them because you nailed it. That was I think that's a huge light bulb fundamental shift that you just saw. Is that this is 100% in correlation and mirrors how we support our clients. Mm-hmm. So what's the deal, right? With clients, we know that if we do it with them, right? Think about how we get them into the 5-in-1, right? We get them we walk it with them. We don't just say, go do the 5-in-1. Let me know how it's going for you. We do it with them. And so, we talk to them each day. We tell them, okay, this is what your day is going to look like tomorrow. We spell it out, right? And we're right there. We're right there. And we don't tell them a million things and what transition is going to look like and what maintenance is going to look like. Let's just talk about this right now. What do you need to know right now? So I love what she said in the video, that just in time training, the JIT training. So we don't need to tell them a bunch of stuff just in case, just in time. Well, the same micro environment applies for a new coach. So we want to, it's almost like the 5-in-1. We want to help our client get to senior coach. I think Zena might have used this phrase once, or somebody said it to me. It's like we want to get them into the 5-in-1, like we want to get them into fat burn for coaching. So we just want to coach them just specifically on what do they need to know to get started, to acquire their first 5 clients. And that is going to happen. They'll only get into action when we've awakened that why. That was so important, what Samantha said on the call that Katie pointed out, is helping them create their story. How is your life different as a result of Optavia? How's your life and your health been impacted? What was your life like before? What does your present and your future look like? And when we can awaken that, light that fire for them, that's what will propel them into action. And I think we touched on this last time. Maybe Franken might have mentioned it. It was such a good point. But 80% of the time, if somebody is not in action, it's usually because more of a lack of clarity of their why. That fire needs to be instilled in them versus a skill that they have. So that was awesome. More questions around that, or conversation around that? Mary Lauren.
Something that kind of struck me when we were talking about, helping them find what their goal is in coaching. It's just like you were talking about when we find our own why when we're on plan. I have a coach who her goal, and as pure and sincere as it is, I'll probably cry, but the only reason she became a coach was to help her mom pay for her food because she has a lot of health problems. And her mom is doing fantastic on plan, and that's her why. And so she's not really focused on becoming a senior coach or doing anything. She's almost a senior coach anyway. But I feel like if we continue to focus on the quality of our coaching and the quality of why we're doing this to begin with, and remembering our why, the numbers will just come. It's going to be organic. And so I feel like the better our product and the better marketing we do with sincere motives, she's been a great example of that because she just wanted to help one person and she's growing anyway. So I just thought that was really neat to apply it to real life with my coaches. So.
And that's so true. I mean, many don't come in with a big dream of, oh, I'm going to build this big business. They don't even know it's possible. I mean, one of the points they pointed out was just ask them, what would it feel like to earn $400 or $500 in this business? And that's what we're going to help them achieve. But even to your point, Lauren, I mean, that happens, or Mary Lauren, that happens so often. Meg Johnson, she wanted to help her mom. And she has, and she's helped 999 other people as well, because it started with one. So with somebody like that, we want to continue. It sounds like she's got a natural attraction for bringing on people, but tap into that intrinsic, what does that do for her when she can help somebody create that help? And what would it feel like to do that again? And then to do that again. Yeah. And then, like you said, those rewards will naturally start to come to her, and we're going to start to ignite that fire. And for many people, I mean, I was one of those examples. For many people, it was very much for meaning and purpose for me as an individual versus a huge financial goal. The financial just came with it, and it's a nice benefit. You can ask my husband. I know he's on here somewhere. So,
I was going to add on.
Zena, and then Tyler, and then Lauren. Excellent.
Hi, everyone. So one of the things that I got is that, I'm always with the new coach. I mean, what I got is show them about the importance in getting to senior. My mind already goes to presidential, and that's not what to do. So now I know to bring it all the way back, really, keep it there and let them see what's possible with that. So that was a good lesson for me. And I do want to put this out because I'm positive, but I want to put one little thing, not that it's negative, but I just want to see what everyone's thoughts are. So working with some new coaches today, when I have the bigger picture for them and I have I want it so much for them and they don't have that drive. And I see that I can do so much for them and help them with the post and do all this different things. And it's like pulling teeth, Carol. So, that's really, there's no special thing to do with that. It's just some of us have it and some of us don't. But it's like, pulling me, along and I just want to push the cart, so it's a little frustrating could be after a day of doing that. So
totally understandable. And it, again, like we talked about with Katie, how does that mirror with the clients, right? How often do we know, and we know this program works inside and out, the 5-in-1 works, but then somebody won't commit to it. They won't follow it. And, it's almost like you want to just beat your head against the wall or just drag them or just, go to their house and take away everything except the 5-in-1, but we can't, right? So all we can do as coaches is look to see, can we awaken? Can we light that fire? Can we help them focus or refocus on what their intrinsic motivation will be? Kind of bounce the ball to them and then see if they bounce it back to us. But what we can't do is drag and pull and that, because that's hard for you and it's hard on them too.
Right.
We want this, we are a volunteer army that's here to, to change the world, but at our pace and what feels right to us. But that's why I like events and things like that, because I think sometimes until somebody gets to convention or something like that, I didn't have the full picture. I didn't quite get it until I got to an event and saw it bigger. So good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Zena, for sharing that. And thanks for being honest, because this is real talk. Tyler.
Hey, I know that for me, like similar to Zena, like I'm typically like one that like wants to share the $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 a month, and I recognize that could be overwhelming for some people sometimes, and it's like something that like for me, it could be a drive for me to think like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna start posting, I'm gonna start doing this, I'm gonna start doing that, and because that's something that can drive me. But I know it doesn't drive everybody. But I know that there's also the part that I feel like sometimes I'm at conflict with myself, and I know that they brought this up, but I get a conflict with myself thinking that it's either that they're going to be a coach or they're going to be a client. If they're going to be a client, I feel that me sharing the coaching opportunity seems like I'm dipping into their pocket, and that to recognize that this is just a perk. It's just a perk to be able to make something on the side. But the real enjoyment is being able to change lives. And so I don't know if anybody's ever had that mindset behind it. I would love input on that, but yeah.
Can you share with me a little bit more your thoughts around dipping into their pocket? I just want to make sure I understand what that means.
Yeah, like just the thought of me making an income off of other people being clients. And so it's like, well, the money's got to come from somewhere. And so the mindset to draw back and say, well, if I sign up, then basically not all this money is going towards me being on the program, but it's also going towards you. And so I know that I can kind of play the devil's advocate or whatever it may be and think like, okay, what are they thinking? And try to like get an idea of like how it might interfere. But then a lot of times it ends up drawing doubts in my own mind. So
and I can so relate to that. I think when I talked about my blocks, if I'm understanding you correctly, if I didn't interpret you right, just let me know. But when I had my blocks around coaching, I used to think to myself, like, well, they just came to lose some weight. Like, it's just going to seem weird now if I'm talking to them about a business, like, I don't know. That was the stuff going on in my head. And again, would they think I was trying to make money off them or something? But at the end of the day, and I think they talked about this in the developing a sponsoring mindset training, so it might be worth taking a look at that again. But at the end of the day, I mean, always when we offer coaching, we definitely want to be offering it and how it's going to benefit them, right? Because at the end of the day, they make, like, does anybody mind that I make like a 0.5% on your business? Does that matter? I mean, because you are making so far beyond what I am making, and that's just a little compensation for what I'm doing with these calls and whatnot. So at the end of the day, they benefit so much more. And when I could have that mental shift around that, it made a big difference in my offering and freely talking about it, because I knew in my heart of hearts, just like the program, yeah, I'll get paid to coach them, but their benefits are going to be so much more than what I will ever have. Larry, do you have anything else to add on that?
Yeah, I was going to go back to kind of what I always say about just the business opportunity. Again, it's again, through relationship, having something of value that meets a need. So if you look at it through that lens and even share it with clients, especially clients that may seem a little, skeptical, say, this is all I'm trying to do. Through our relationship, I think I have something that's of real value, not just the program, the health program, but the coaching as well. And if it meets a need of yours, I would love to have a longer conversation or have get into conversation with you on it. If it doesn't, hey, I get it. And you kind of walk away, because the most important thing we want to do is always maintain relationships, because if somebody's not ready today, they may be ready in the future. And as long as they know you have something of value to offer, I think that's the way, business needs to be done. And that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about business at that point. So again, just going back to what I consider in my mind, at least the basics as far as our offering.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Thanks for sharing those thoughts. And this was interesting. One thing at the incentive trip, they had a kind of a school by the pool, and Dan Valentine shared, he said, you know what? He said, 90% of people say no to coaching the first time, including to him. Like 90% of people will say no. They're too busy. They don't need it, whatever. But, we probably all said no our first time as well. So again, just listening to find out what their need is, and show value. And Lauren, I know you were going to share, and this has been an area and a skill you've really done well in sharing the opportunity. So maybe you can offer some light on that and growing senior coaches.
Yeah, and Tyler, I just want to thank you for being honest and vulnerable, because I think I know this is something I've talked a lot with Myrna about too, because I think it can be easy to get hung up on numbers sometimes and forget why we're really doing what we're doing. And I always have to remember too, like, our clients are going to have a coach, whether it's us or whether it's someone that they don't know, and that they're not paying us, it's Optavia. And so I think kind of getting around that and remembering, because I think initially I kind of had that a little bit too with my coach of like, oh, well, she's benefiting off of me. And then I think once I saw her pour her heart into me in the beginning and was like, gosh, this is worth it. Like, I need somebody helping me. I need that accountability. And so I think remembering that we're, getting paid for our time, to really give our time to them. But yeah, I think kind of what Dee was sharing, I think we got to hear a lot of really cool things on the incentive trip. And the School by the Pool was actually one of my favorite events. It was just, we were gathered around a pool, and there were different coaches kind of standing up and just sharing and answering questions. And I really wanted to appreciate, all of you guys sharing tonight. I really liked what Wendell said too. But I think some of the things that really stuck out with me was that coaching clients is so similar to coaching coaches. And I know a couple of you guys shared that tonight. And I think it just all comes back to awakening. So just like we do in our health assessment with awakening our clients, that we're awakening our new coaches too, and helping to figure out what are their goals. And honestly, just like in our health assessments, when our clients share their goal for their weight loss, a lot of times they'll say something like, well, I really want to lose, I think losing 15 pounds would be great. I mean, my dream goal would be 50 pounds, but, let's start with 15 pounds. And I think a lot of times our coaches can feel that way too, where, their initial goal might be having 5 clients. And that's awesome. Let's get them to 5 clients, and then let's show them how easy that can be. And then let's awaken them to a bigger dream. And I think sometimes we can stop at that initial dream and forget to really awaken them to something bigger. Because that was my first goal too. My first goal was helping 5 clients. And, thankfully I'm actually close to 500 now that have been helped since I became a coach. And so, obviously my dream, Dee was one of those who really, Dee and Meg both helped me really open my eyes to something bigger. I'm trying to read the things on the side too. Lynette, thank you. Yeah, Lynette got to watch the live video that I talked about, kind of how to do client calls, some tips for that. So, but yeah, I think that the call was really helpful. And one thing that they talked about, as far as talking about income with new coaches, is asking them in that Coach Explore, what income would make you smile? And then asking what income would blow your mind. And then helping them to strategically see how they could get there.
Yep, 100%. And everything you said was right in alignment, and reinforces the importance of duplication, using the resources we have available. So I'm glad you brought up about the Coach Explorer, because that's our first step where we start to awaken a client to what's possible, also awaken the client to who the first people are that they might talk to. Doing that Coach Explorer with your mentor coach, if you don't feel confident in doing that on your own yet. No matter what, bringing your coach to a meet and greet with your coach. So let's open up the lines of communication, let them have another mentor to breathe into them. So, Lauren had mentioned with me, helping with her, et cetera. So we always want our coaches to see that and be, and then it's just like the clients, like you said, they may want to lose 50. Well, how do you do that? You lose 5 pounds at a time, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15, and then it compounds to where they want to go. And if you would have told me when I started I would be a presidential director, I mean, that probably would have terrified me. Where some people like Tyler, that energizes him, right? Like it would have terrified me. So starting with, okay, let's get 5 people. Oh, okay, I got that, All right, let's learn how to bring on senior coaches. Let's get you to executive director. Get you, because this business is all about personal growth and action to move into the business growth. So sometimes our brain has to catch up, right, with that growth. So it all works together. So thanks for bringing that up, because It's exactly the building blocks. And when we show those building blocks, that's how they will then replicate to build senior coaches on their teams. Anything else? We're just hitting the 8 o'clock mark. I do want you guys to hop over to Dr. A. I'm sure there'll be some summaries of the trip and additional training and what's going on with the technology. Any last points to share? All right, well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming on. I hope that this helped to continue to reinforce. We're gonna build on this, so come back next week. Thanks for all the loving hands and the great comments. We love you guys as a team. We are doing remarkable things. Finishing up our month strong. We've got all the way until Sunday to finish this month. So continue to be active out there. I did a great share from Doug Wood in our client group today about some actions that you can do tonight to continue to finish strong this month. So always reach out if you need anything to me or to your business coach, and I'll see you over on Dr. A's call. Have a good night.